We are God's embodying physical avatar. We're not physical connecting to the universe. We are that universe, every single one of us. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm waiting for
You
you to
you
get
know,
out
like
of this
blah
whole
blah
blah blah
blah.
blah. I'm just kidding. This
Okay.
is this is our dynamic. It's coming out.
I also would like to give you, Kosta, a chance to channel where
Yes,
I
Yeah.
have
yes.
to.
Okay, off you go.
Fun
You go.
commercial
A commercial break.
commercial break.
Last week, I had a Beyond Quantum Healing session with Melissa Ross, the sponsor of today's video. Melissa Ross uses a system of hypno-regression combined with guided meditation to help pinpoint and alleviate traumas from this lifetime or previous lifetimes. Melissa was capable, comforting, and professional. I felt safe, guided, and affirmed the entire time, while she easily pinpointed an epiphany from my past that needed to be brought to light. For a limited time, Melissa is offering a free 2-hour session, while any following sessions will only be $55. Click here or check the description box to get your free session while they last. I am here today with Armand and Kosta, and they are partners living in Miami Beach with their 1-year-old son. Kosta channels WEOLA, the frequency of oneness, and they also provide one-on-one coaching, retreats, and workshops. And I am so excited to introduce you to them today and hear a little bit about their journey as channels. And stick around to the end because Kosta is going to channel WEOLA for us a little bit later. So thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for including
Thank you
us.
for inviting us. It's always fun to meet new friends and just to have a wonderful exchange. So we're excited about today.
Yeah.
Yes, I am too. And I would love to start by hearing a little bit about your personal journey. So, whoever wants to jump in first with this, I'd like to hear just a little bit about you. And did you have a spiritual background at all? And even like, how did the two of you meet and how did you start out on this path?
Wow.
You or me?
You start.
Oh, okay. So we've been partners. We met about 10 years ago, a little bit over 10 years
Mhm.
ago. And we've been obviously in our individual self-discovery journey. I feel like we all have that, right, to a certain degree. But I feel the conscious kick in the head was when we discovered Abraham Hicks in 2015. And since then, we got kind of a vocabulary first and then a way to communicate between one another for the first few years. We were so excited and we were sharing everything with our friends that were outside of the spiritual community. And then when we discovered that whole wonderful group of people, we started cruising and visiting a lot of workshops. And I've had a lot of interactions one-on-one with Abraham Hicks in a hot seat. And at one point, I got a nudge to pay attention, and that there was this excitement about after this exchange of we're excited for you to continue doing this in a format like this, but also through your own receiving mechanism. And so the week after, I was coming out of meditation, and I came out, and I was like, I think I have just channeled for the first time. And Armand was like, what? And this is usually the time he likes to tell this part of the story.
Okay, yeah. Let's hear your experience.
Yeah, my experience was that I was joking with him quite a lot about when are you going to channel, but literally very lighthearted, nothing. It wasn't even like a conscious dream or that we want to do this kind of work or anything. It was more because he was so steady. We both were applying what we were discovering, every new layer of awareness. We actually were integrating it and living it and applying it into our day-to-day life experience. And he was so steady in certain challenging situations that I was like, okay, come on, Jesus, like jokingly, when are you going to start channeling? Like it's kind of like the next step, from your steadiness. And then that's happened one day. I was walking through the bedroom and then I hear him speaking by himself in Serbian. And usually he doesn't, which is his native language, he usually doesn't speak Serbian. We speak English all the time. And I was like, that's weird, but okay. And then he came out and he said, I just channeled. And then from there, we just started to kind of like do sessions between us every morning. That was kind of like a nice ritual. Then we included friends to come on and ask any questions they might have. And then those friends became and expanded into more friends and more friends. And we ended up doing the first year about 200 live streams broadcasting WEOLA and people coming from all over the world asking any questions that were important to them. And doing retreats in person. The first year we did 4 retreats, and then we just kept it every 3 months until up until our son was born. And now we about to do another one after he was born. So, anyways, yeah, that was kind of our journey in a general scale.
Yeah, one of the things that sped things up when we started cruising, it was kind of like it was fun to get this little energy boost from a different channeler, but I feel we got so eager into our own self-development, and I feel like that joking was coming from that, and obviously we were ready to experience it ourselves. And then naturally, when you come from a community where you are listening to someone and then now you are doing something like that, it was quite an exciting thing to happen. And it's been what now, 4.5 years? Most wonderful experiences, most wonderful friendships, and our own development that's now taking shape in actually in a couple of languages. As Armand mentioned, Serbian is my native language, and that area of the world is now calling more as well. So we're very 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 excited that everything that we're living and everything we're discovering, we're able to share.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. And I'm going to come right back to your story, but I want to highlight something that you said, Armand. You said that you guys or that Costa was integrating everything that you were learning. And I think that's such an important point because it's so easy to just keep taking in all of this spiritual knowledge and not integrating it into your life. I know that's something that I've done. I think a lot of people
Oh
do.
yeah.
But the fact that you're integrating this into your daily practice, do you think that that had an effect on the fact that you were able to start channeling?
Think it was a combination of everything. I think it was the lightheartedness about it because we know that when we insist, we just, pushed away. Also, it was such a light desire. So it's kind of like the example of when there is like a very light desire, how it come in such a beautiful, unexpected, surprising and ways, and all the gift boxes along the way without actually thinking how, but allow the how just to unfold on its natural way. And how amazing it was actually as an example where we with our mind couldn't even perceive that anything like this could happen, right? But our wider perspective was just, orchestrating all of it. And that can be applied to anything that we want, right? So sometimes with our mind, we try to conjure how things are going to happen, but it's not designed for that. It's designed to perceive what is already happening or happened. And then our higher perspective, wider perspective, source, God's perspective, whatever we want to call it, is the one that actually is seeing the bigger picture. And that's how sometimes we're really you know, blow minded, right? Like by how things are unfolding because we just allow ourselves to relax and receive and enjoy and have fun. Yes, and the integration part, I think, the integration always becomes fuller. Like looking back and connected the dots, obviously we were applying, but nothing in comparison to actually how we now integrating it, right? How authentic it feels now. And I feel it's also natural, like, as we expand our awareness, also the integration process of it becomes fuller. And yeah, especially with the birth of our son, it's just got amplified into like, skyrocketed, so to speak. Do you want to say anything? You
Yeah, I'm
just
waiting for
just
you to
you
get
know
out
like
of this whole blah, 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 blah. I'm just kidding.
okay.
This is our dynamic. It's coming out. We were nice the first part. That was it. Just kidding. No, what I'm dying to say is about that integration.
Don't die.
No, I'm not gonna die. So is the part of integrating like between those like energy boosts that you have when you go for vacation, for retreat, to a channel or whatever it might be. And I see this even with clients, is we get prone to get so excited about all of it, as you said, and then let it just kind of like blow over. And actually this became a very exciting thing for us. When COVID happened and we could not travel for some time, you had no other way but to integrate it on your own. And this is actually where my channel opened up in this way. And then it became the thing, okay, whatever I take from whatever interaction that I take, how I can apply it day by day. And that gives so much. That actually for me was really about saying yes to being fully who I am, in terms of, I used to be in a ballroom dance industry teaching people how to dance, but then I realized that they were always coming here to calibrate to feel good, not only to achieve the dance stuff, but to really calibrate to feel good. And I said, I would really like to have a modality that can actually help me do that, where people know they're coming for the self-development, not necessarily that's like a bonus. And in my mind, it was like life coaching. That was the only thing that was familiar. Not in million years did I think that it would be about channeling in this way. And now, after all these years of integration, we do everything. We do the conscious coaching, we do intuitive business coaching,
Yeah.
we do channeling and retreats. So I would say for sure, in order for you to be able to open up for more to come, it needs to stabilize. It needs to kind of even within the frame of the
Settle down.
body too. It needs to settle in before you can come in and get more. And
Another
I feel that what you're referring to is that sometimes we get excited on intellectual level of like how it sounds, and then the application of it is kind of the next step, without any judgment about that first step, because it's inevitable and it's necessary for us to opening up for the idea. And now when I really even think about it in this moment, isn't it so amazing that we can be so curious about so many things and choose what we integrate? It's like the best thing ever, because there's no race, nobody's keeping the score, and it's just like,
it's just for you.
yeah, so awesome to experience the variety that we're all in. So good.
Wow, that was so, so good. I loved everything that both of you said. One of you mentioned lighthearted desire and I think that's such a brilliant way of describing that state of surrender. Like if you're consciously creating something and then stepping out of the way to let the universe or source unfold through you in the proper timing. So I just really love the way that you described that. I think it'll be helpful to a lot of people.
Yes. Yes, because, and I was saying that when we want a glass of water, right? Like a simple cliche example that everyone gives and everyone can understand. Like we want a glass of water, it's a non-brainer. We just go get it, drink it. We know we have it, right? So from wanting it to having it, which are two different vibrational states, it's very quick, right? We don't overthinking anything. So same can be applied to anything. Same lightheartedness, same knowing, and
It's actually, I feel like that's how it actually happens. Even if desire is big and we're waiting for it for a long time, it kind of has to come through that lighthearted phase. And now sometimes if we were in struggle for the longest time of not receiving that, we don't see that we go through the place of surrender. But the place of surrender has to happen in order
otherwise,
for us to receive.
yeah.
So now the question is, are we approaching it from a place of curiosity and wonder, or do we have a little bit more survival infused? It's okay. Both of them are okay. It becomes more of a preference. So every time we can, we do it from that lighthearted place. And every time that we're not, we're always trying to, not stay too much in a judgment of it, because I feel this is also a part for us in this journey. It's like we feel like we found this holy grail of things, and we find these amazing manifestations start coming up, and now we try to keep ourselves up to some standard that it's not designed to be here, because we're here for variety and contrast. It's like, oh my gosh, this feels so good, I want to eliminate contrast. It's like, no, you're here for contrast and to feel as good about it and enjoy it as much, or in the words that Armand mentioned, be as lighthearted about it, because it's really just the word that keeps ringing as I'm saying this is it's like a fun cosmic play of us, just experiencing. So good.
Yeah, and I see that in your relationship too, in the videos that I've watched of you guys interacting and just talking with you right now, and I love that so much.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
awesome.
we're having fun
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
most of the time.
yeah,
most
yeah,
of the time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, well, going back to your story, would you like to share with me what it felt like the first time that you channeled? What was that experience like for you?
So when I received this nudge, pay attention, energy might flow this way for you, meaning like kind of you're ready. That was kind of the vibe. I forgot about it because it was on the cruise. And so the week after, in my meditation, I started receiving my thoughts in Serbian. And I said to myself, well, this is weird because I've been thinking in English for years now. And then I remembered that on a previous cruise, like 9 months prior to that, I had a similar nudge, but I completely disregarded it. I was like, this is so weird to be thinking in Serbian, like, whatever. And then I said to myself, oh, okay, this happened before. I disregarded it. Then, as soon as it came again, now I had this backing up of pay attention from a week before. So I said to myself, I'll pay attention tomorrow. If this comes again, I'm just going to speak it and record it, and let's see what comes up. Because I could clearly distinguish the different frequency, and it was nothing unusual for me, but it was kind of like, well, from this perspective, it was kind of like, come on, pay attention. And we do not know how else but for you to receive it in a different language, because it's something that's always been going on now when I think about it. And even when I was speaking to the friends that I was growing up with, when I started telling them about, okay, so here is this new thing that I'm doing, this whole new woo-woo thing. He's now judging me that I'm talking too much. It's like I would be like, and I would explain to them what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and they would say, "Well, this we don't know what you're talking about, channeler. We have no idea, but it makes total sense for you because this is what you used to do when we were growing up." And I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "You would always be, well, you don't have to look at it from this perspective. You can look at it from this perspective and that perspective and this perspective." And so it's been something that has been integrated, and I not feel, I know this is the case with all of us. We just do not make that much of a difference because we feel that, everything is coming from the same place of consciously thinking about stuff. Well, we all have access to alignment and access to contrast, and we're always all receiving all the time. Now, do we pay attention to it? Some people call it intuition. Um, do we pay attention to it, and what do we make with it is the next thing. So for me, it was just the step one. If this has value, I'm going to say it and I'm going to record it. And when I did, it was very specific. It was kind of like, here now, present. This is something you wanted to do for the longest time. And then I remembered, oh my gosh, I did want to have a modality. I did want to have my unique language. I did not want to, use somebody else's language, that I was hearing out of the respect for their work. And for me, it came in a form of 3 weeks of receiving only in Serbian. And until the vocabulary, first original vocabulary, built itself up, for me to have the confidence that this is coming straight through me, and that there is no interference in a conscious way of like, am I borrowing this from my memory kind of thing.
And also, the fascinating part was that he was receiving in Serbian, but the structure, grammatical structure, what was English.
Yes, this was
Oh,
phenomenal.
wow.
And we found this out when first few days I was translating it manually, and I was like, well, this is taking too much time, because conversations started becoming 10 minutes, 15, half an hour. And I said, let me just Google Translate this, at least to get an idea. And I would Google Translate it, and it would be almost perfect. It was like no touching up to do, which I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. How this was the path of least resistance, to receive it in your own language, to get the confidence that, it's authentically coming through you, but in a way that's going to be easy to digest, and to tell you, hey, this is not only one language thing. This is, in any language that you speak, you can do this. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. Okay, so when you're channeling, Costa, I guess this question is for you. Are you still present? Are you aware of what you're saying, or do you go into a trance?
So I'm here. I go in the background. This is how I call it. So I just take a couple of breaths, and I pulled up. I call it into a wider perspective. So my thoughts, opinions, beliefs, judgments go completely, to the side. And so then the energy flows. And usually in our workshops, energy that comes in is very direct, in a form of, hey, let's do something. What is it that you want to talk about, kind of thing. And sometimes there is like the sense of, you know, of like a flow that comes into, but it's usually very short. So yeah, so I you will see it. It looks very natural for me. And I actually never made too much inquiry about too many details of it. Even for the name WEOLA, which is an acronym for We All Are One, came
Mhm.
as a fun way of discovering something that people can make the difference between me when you chat with me right now, and then while I'm channeling. But it's just something that's, I don't know, it just feels so natural for me. So yeah.
But he does not remember. It's like a whisper, because whether we do an in-person retreat or workshop
Mhm.
or online, I point to Costa. Oh my God, do you remember this amazing question, or what we all said? It was so amazing, and then he has to hear it back. Like he's not conscious about the conversation, but sometimes it's like a whisper. Sometimes he comes to me and he says out of the blue, was there a question something about this? And I say,
Mm.
yes. He's like, oh, interesting. Like it's coming,
Yeah.
it's coming through a little bit, right?
So the way it feels is like, everything that we think and say, we also hear, right? And when we hear, this is the ongoing process of processing it and doing something with that information. Well, I kind of like the process. It feels like that last part of bringing it back. Obviously, I hear my own voice, but the processing part of the information is not happening. So energy goes, you know, in one way, so to speak. And so that's why sometimes when I come out of it, it feels like, sometimes I would tell him, this feels like a distant memory, but was there something about this? Or sometimes if I would hear people talk about, like sometimes after retreat or like on a break or something, I would come back, and I could, it almost feels like a prediction, right? And sometimes it happens in the now, like I was not even physically focused. So it can play in each of the timelines for me, depending on, I guess, what's very exciting to me in the moment.
That's fascinating. I've spoken with more channels recently who say something similar, that it's not, I mean, it's kind of an in between, I guess. I wouldn't know since I've never channeled like that, but you're
Oh,
not fully into a trance, but yet you're sort of just stepping back and allowing the channel to come through you.
Yes, yes, that's how it feels. It's a lovely, energized place. I get out of my own head for like
Mm.
half an hour, 2 hours, depending on how many. I told Armand, make sure that I'm usually like light in my stomach before I do it, in order for energy to flow nicely. And so I said, make sure I have like my food ready for afterwards, because I get very hungry. So yeah,
yeah.
to like
He,
to just ground a little bit. Yeah,
yeah, he's so high. It's like,
Yeah.
and
then he has to do
yeah,
something
yeah,
physical to
yeah.
actually either eat something
Well, usually I'm the one who's gonna, for example, pick up our whole studio here, afterwards and put everything. It feels
Lucky
really
me.
good. Yeah.
I'm a lucky boy.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I'm like, dude, hello. No, but it really works for me to do something manual and something simple because of not giving attention to my phone, to the news, to talking to anyone for at least 15, 20, 30 minutes after something, kind of that I can do while I'm slowly giving attention or focusing right back in. That's usually the best transition for me. Sometimes it doesn't happen, and that's okay too. I've learned how to navigate it, but that's what I prefer the most. So I'm gonna go into my organizing mode right after we finish.
Interesting. That makes so much sense because I recently have been learning about the Kundalini and how it rises to create a Kundalini awakening. And the teacher was saying the same thing, that if it's rising too fast and giving you too many symptoms, then do something grounding like eating or something that's really going to pull you back into your body.
Yeah, this is I when I work with clients, I always suggest to any kind of meditation, any kind of energy work, anything that we're doing to, because this is also that, right? Whether you're doing it for yourself or for others, I cannot stress enough how important this is, because imagine like having such a high voltage and all of a sudden your attention goes into undesired space. It's kind of
Right.
like, it's not fun.
Because it can go both
Yeah,
ways.
yeah,
Once it's
yeah,
amplified,
yeah.
depending on where you focus.
So you kind of like, when you do so, when you bring so much energy, if you're not pre-paving, or if you're not like taking time to settle in, it's kind of 50-50. You give your attention to something amazing, it's even better. But if you give attention to something that's not fun, then it took a second. I cannot say first year, second year, at some point it took time to realize how this affects the body while I'm channeling. It's the most sublime thing, because I said I'm out of my own head and energy flows. But then you're kind of like, well, what wrong can go? How bad it can be if I just go about my day. It's like, no, take your time, go back to this frequency, be easy about it, and then you will know when to give attention. So, you'll live, you learn, and it's kind of,
You
yeah,
do.
it's a process. Yeah. My gosh, he cannot. He cannot. He's like, you do? Yes, I do. Do you?
I am.
Armand, I would love to hear from your experience with Costa being the channel. Could you share a little bit more about the role that you play? Because you also play a really important role in
Oh
supporting
my God,
women.
this is so good. This is so good because this story has recently changed and I'm so obsessed about
Okay.
it.
What's
Okay.
changed? I
Yeah.
forgot.
Well,
What?
yeah. Mi vida, like you
Even
just.
now have changed. Everything have changed.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
here
a
we
new
go.
person.
Here we go. Yeah, you're the person.
Anyways, so I just want to say that I was the summoner of it.
Yeah.
I said in a very
Yes.
lighthearted way, and
Yes.
he was,
Receiver, yeah.
receiver. So I love the joint frequency, and actually, the way we create together is fascinating, as well as the way we create individually, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah.
Because it's open up for all of you life partners out there. We were glue hip to hip.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Awesome, right?
Everything together.
Everything
All of our
together.
projects
Yeah.
together. Yes.
Machi machi, all of that. Super cute for years. Amazing. A child was born. All that went,
Beep.
beep up. And I want to tell you, guys, whatever you do together, do it. And then open up avenues for also individual expression, because then you just open up for more, for a fuller experience.
We were so excited to like merge into the oneness because we're channeling the frequency of oneness. Then we were like, where do you begin? Where do I end? What's going on? And yeah.
The question was for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Off we go. Yeah. You see? You see?
So, anyways, I want to say that when he started receiving, I had my process to adjust to what was happening, because for as much as I'm open, and we went to Abraham Hicks workshops and I've seen Esther 100 times channel Abraham, I never really kind of like had a quest about how is she doing it. And here I have.
In other words, it's fun until it's your husband.
Yes, because
Right.
then you can see the difference. As I said, like right now, it's very natural, and it became it became looking very natural very fast. Thank God. I also, thank myself for I was asking for that. But I had my process, because even looking at Costa in the eyes when he was channeling probably for the first year, I couldn't really, because I can see pupils are, it's different. It's like my husband, but it's not. So it was a little bit weird. Then it's just,
Well, then I was like, I don't care, because he was like, every time we would have something personal, he's like, well, WEOLA would never do that. I was like, you did not live with WEOLA, you live with me. Like, and I even had afterwards, I had like a hot seat about it with Abraham Hicks as well. And it's like, oh, Abraham was like, yeah, yeah. It's like, this is my husband, and turn on another side and say, this is WEOLA. It's like, make a clear distinction. I was like, I don't care what you hear and how amazing it is. Like, I'm here in a human body, integrated, feeling amazing about all of my
yeah.
good stuff and stuff that's in contrast, and I'm owning it. And if you want, you go and marry WEOLA.
So I was telling him sometimes, do you hear yourself now? I'm gonna find that recording with Viola, and you're gonna listen to yourself
I was
what you
like,
were
I
saying,
don't care.
you know. But it's cute and it's fun. Yeah, for me. And right now I feel it's so natural, not only in him and in me, but also I can see that in everyone else, and I can recognize the ability of everyone's channel in, through different expressions. And it's so beautiful. It's not, like only one way. There is arts, there is
Any creation,
and a
anything that you.
create, and channeling can be a minute, 5 minutes, like the only difference is that Costa can steadily stay there for.
Well, it's exciting for me to
Yeah.
be in this place, and it feels good to offer that to come for others too. But since we're all doing it, we're doing it on a different scale. But another thing that came to mind while he was just like, was that this sense of like responsibility, right? Once something like this comes through you and starts helping a lot of people, and miracles are happening and people's lives are changing, then all of a sudden, this holding on to, like, what am I supposed to? Am I supposed to read anything ever? Listen to anyone? Uh, how do you interact with the world? Now you're like, I'm receiving infinite intelligence and all of these things are coming through. And as he would say, listen to what's coming through you. And I would be like, but I still want to experience certain things, right? And at some point, I was trying to eliminate the contrast. I feel we all go through that phase when we're on this journey of self discovery. But then I started embracing it, and I said, I know I'm not guided to listen back to this channeling so far. Sometimes I do, but I'm not guided. And, I just love integrating it in a different way.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, more and more every day, I'm appreciative and of being able to be here on planet Earth and experience the contrast. It's like, I mean, you don't get to do this on all frequencies. It's kind of like awesome.
And I want to add to that from my perspective also. The thing is that sometimes we glorify that wider God's perspective, right? But this is us. We are God's embodying physical avatar. We're not physical connecting to the universe. We are that universe, every single one of us. So once you make this slight subtle difference, right, then you're not glorifying that part anymore, because you know that you are that. And then you start to embrace all the physical aspects, like what many, for example, the popular word ego, right? So a lot of people, I want to eliminate the ego. And I was like, well, you can't, ego because of the ego, actually you can have a physical experience, like without your ego you would be just non-physical. Why would you eliminate it? Just balance it, like just we are a blend of both physical and non-physical, and the physical is mystical, everything,
Oh, I love this. He likes to say this: physical is mystical.
because the mystical is, the God is flowing through us all the time, whether we are aware, not conscious, not non-conscious. It's just
It's like I find it's like a phenomenal collaboration where there is no expansion without the physical realm, and us to experience this from this perspective, there's nothing without the support of a wider perspective. So it's like, oh, wait a second, this is a mutual dance, like a mutual dance between the perspectives. As Abraham says, co-creation at its best. It's really like there is no undermining of each aspect of you, and it's like that's the feeling of like that, feeling of balance and integration. Oh, so good.
And that's why we do love channeling. We do that aspect of us, and bring that aspect into our workshops and retreats. But that's not the only part we love. We also love the conscious work, because the conscious work is where integration happens.
Yeah.
And you want to live it, right? Because if you're still going to us because we're channelers, because we're channeling, infinite intelligence, you're still searching from outside of you. So now go and integrate it.
Oh my gosh, I cannot. This is such a.
I love.
Wait a second. This is such a full circle moment. Thank you. Such a full circle moment, because the moment I started channeling and I had these thoughts about like I want to continue with my life coaching, whatever. It took me 4 or 5 months. I did not want to pay attention to anything. And he was like, "What? You want to now give attention to this stuff?" He was like channeling and only
like,
channeling.
glorify.
And I was like, wait a second, like this integration is calling, and I'm so excited. These tools that we get, we apply them, we try them, we test them out, and then we share them. And now we are not glorifying one over another anymore. Just like because
equal.
yeah,
It's equal, blended, harmonious, balanced, necessary. Both aspects are amazing.
yeah.
Just
And now we're
No
gonna let
words.
you. And now we're gonna let you speak in your podcast.
Oh no, I love it. Love it. This is one of the most fun interviews I've ever done.
oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you. We're having a great time.
We're not gonna tell anyone.
Yeah, we're not gonna tell anyone, but only all of your viewers are gonna know that. I'm just kidding.
I'm torn because I want to keep talking to both of you, but I also would like to give you, Kosta, a chance to channel.
Yes.
where I have
yes.
to.
We can do it. We
Yes.
can do another one in some other time as well.
Okay, yes, that sounds
Yeah,
like a
we're
good
having a
plan.
blast with you. Anytime you want to invite us, you can. You know now what's happening. So
Yes,
anyways,
yes,
yeah, we
I
can
would
do
love
that.
that.
You want to do that? You want to do
Sure.
some channeling? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
with the
let's-
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye. See you. Okay. Off you go.
Fun.
Off you go.
Commercial.
A commercial break.
Commercial break.
Okay, let's do this. If you're recording this for my social media, just from a good side.
so important.
Well, I know that WEOLA doesn't care, but I do.
Yes.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Okay, so I'm gonna quiet my mind. Couple of deep breaths, or not so deep, depends. We're pretty lighthearted here today, and my judgments, thoughts, opinions, beliefs are stepping aside, and you get to ask anything that matters to you and your viewers, and for whatever time you want. We're in no rush.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Here now, present, in this moment, in every moment, at all times, your wider perspective, that which is you from a different angle, that wider perspective of you that can offer you insight that you currently, within where you're giving your attention to, are not able to see yourself. We like to say a wider perspective, a zoomed out perspective, as if you were to be, let's say, on a corner of two streets, looking to find your direction, and your GPS might not be working for a second, and you might not be seeing clearly where to go. and then us being that little bit pulled up version that can see a couple of block radius in that moment. And so when you're tuning into your wider perspective, this is what happens. Your unique perspective is so important. Your unique perspective is so unique that only you have it, and only you have it in that specific moment. And it's changing, all in the essence for you to know more of you and for you to experience everything that matters to you within the now moment that you're living. We're eager to see what's on your mind today. Go ahead.
WEOLA, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I'd love to start out by asking you, what message have you come during this specific time in human evolution to share with humanity?
It is always a pleasure when we get to the question like this, as the reminder that we always like to offer is to bring it back to you. And so where you are giving your attention is what's your current state of affairs. And we know that in your perspective of taking care of your survival necessities, sometimes you might find yourself in a place that you want to do that for others too. In other words, you take care of you, you're all well, and then you go into the place of worrying maybe, or finding the way to bring others to where you would like them to see, which you would like to see them. And we just want to remind you that everyone has their own experience and free will to experience whatever they want in any given time. And so as you are minding your own business in the best possible way of taking care of you, bringing yourself to the place of steadiness, that is the time when you can offer something. But we also want to bring to your awareness that when you're looking into trying to save someone, what you're denying within the frame of your reality is that they can do it for themselves. In other words, you're denying an opportunity to see not only potential, but the physical manifestation of that which you go to save them for to begin with. And so this feels, and we know it's coming from the place of you wanting to see that oneness that you sense within you. But we want to remind you that when you feel the oneness and then point into something that does not feel like oneness, you're not in a oneness in that moment too. And now, nothing wrong about that. Nothing wrong about that moment, but we want to really clarify this poignant question about how do you bring into your reality more of which you want to see. You bring yourself to center. You remember that everyone has access to the center. Remember that everyone has their access to their free will and that they're exercising it, whether you think that they are doing it in the moment or not. We want to bring to your awareness that there is nothing wrong about some of the programs that you call programs or automated actions, or that which you might be calling unconscious. Unconscious is not your enemy. It gives you continuity for you to experience this 3D reality. And so we often want to remind you that it's the part of the dance of the blended experience that you are. You're not here to eliminate the questions or contrasting experiences or problems of the world and experience only solutions, answers. You're here to experience the variety and to know that you have a choice. And so if there is anything to remind you of, is that you have a choice where you are pointing your flashlight of attention, and that everything that you're observing is the result of where you are currently from within you. And that everything that is showing up in your reality as a reflection is moldable and changeable at all times. And that there is no one way where you go and say, now I'm hooked to this automatic trail of being conscious. We know that even as you're hearing this, you can hear the dissonance between conscious and automatic. We say when you're present and conscious, nothing really bothers you because you can clearly see its value, whether it's something that does not feel good to you or that is something that feels good to you. And so when you get to the perspective where you know there is never anything wrong going on, then you're in a position to change something that you do not like. And so your curiosity and lightheartedness and wonder start doing wonders for you. And at this specific point in time from which you're asking this question, we want to bring to your awareness that you do not have a limited amount of those moments that you have access to. You can rinse and repeat, 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 rinse and repeat. For as lighter you get, more lighthearted that you get to speed up certain things. And more you speed up certain things, more opportunity to speed them up will come. Knowing also that you're here to experience. And to experience is to have access to all densities that are giving you that opportunity. And so you're not eliminating one dimension to be in another one. You're experiencing from this specific dimension that you've decided to come and incarnate and live from. You get to experience anything that you desire because the convergence of all of those dimensions is within you. There is no responsibility, anything that you have to do. It is just what is in the frame of your mind. And so some of you will sit and really enjoy having their life and not pay attention to what's happening out there. Some of you will take care of the planet. Some of you will give focus to animals. Some of you to the planet kingdom. Some of you will go into the nitty-gritty of human relationships and do the transformation from there. And so there is no one more noble cause than another. Not for the one who is completely ignorant, or not for someone who sees everything and wants to save everyone. In other words, there is never anything wrong going on, not even in this moment. And so when you're asking yourself how you can be of service, as that's really in the essence of your question, how you can be of service to others, we say you approach that moment by moment, knowing that there is no rush, knowing that no one is keeping the score, knowing that you give whatever feels the best to you, and knowing that your power is in feeling good and being lighthearted and buoyant. And so as you go through life like that, you stand fuller chance to direct your flashlight of attention to what you want to see. So if you want to see a prosperous world, if you want to see a balanced world, if you want to see a world that has minimum experience of negativity being present, lighter you get, more frequent you can bring your attention to that experience. And so when you get a little practiced in that, you then start seeing what's in the background of everything that exists and the mechanisms of physical manifestation and the experience.
Thank you so much for explaining that. So I hear you saying that we need to accept reality as perfect as the way it is, and out of that acceptance we can find our purpose, or our purpose will unfold for us.
You being here is on purpose. And so there is no purpose. There is no, as we said, limited number of purposes. We're going to use the word that you just asked for. The purpose is in the moment. What is the next step? This feels good. This is what I want to give attention. This is what I feel like changing. This is what I feel like keeping. And then finding that moment after moment. All we are saying is that your experience to where you're at, it's not one-dimensional. So many friends often would like to eliminate the polarity in the name of oneness. And we say you're here to experience oneness through the lens of polarity. It is the most satisfying game that you came to play, of accepting all that's happening within the moment and then pointing in the direction of what's next. And so within that, there is nothing wrong, even when you sometimes suffer. There is nothing wrong, even when you sometimes are not feeling so great. There is obviously nothing wrong when you're feeling good and you're excited and thrilled. But you're all of that. Sometimes friends put the equal sign between wholeness and positive polarity of the experience. And we want to say that the wholeness is really wholeness. It's all of it. It's all of your questions and the answers, positive and the negative, problem and the solution. It is just how intense it gets to go in each direction is really a choice. And so once you loosen up that necessity to claim only one side of the stick, and we know that everyone wants to be good and no one wants to be evil, we want to say that all of the experiences are good for you and you are good in all of them too. You're good when it does not go your way, you're good when it goes your way. All of it is so beneficial for you. And not only for your eternal dance, it's all good for you right now, whereas you came to remind yourself of who you are while you're experiencing this wonderful ride called physical experience.
One question that I get a lot, and you've sort of touched on this here, is that people have a really hard time understanding the purpose of suffering, or how suffering, to the degree that some people do on this planet, such as the death of a loved one, or living in a war-torn country, or child abuse, things like that. People have a really hard time wrapping their mind around how that could be beneficial in any way. Do you have any advice to help explain that?
What we want to bring to your awareness, it is absolutely not necessary. So we want to start there, that there is no necessity for it. And if you observe the new generations coming to your planet, it's very clear to you that they're not buying that anymore. In other words, that more and more new generations are not coming in to walk all of your steps from before in order to earn anything. They know that it's given. They do not want to work hard anymore. In other words, what we want to bring to your awareness is that there is no new energy infused in that direction. So what you're observing right now is just the simple unfolding of what's been before. It's like the little pebble got into the water, and now the ripple of that wave is going to take its course until it hits the shore. And so it's not going to disappear momentarily, but eventually it will not be present there in that specific form. Whereas you can see that the focus is going more in a direction of balance, in a direction of integration, in a direction of we do not need to go through all of this in order to have this. And so we want to bring to your awareness that the value of it being so far here does not mean that it needs to continue to be. And for all of your friends asking for the reason why, we want to remind you that unconscious is not your enemy. And so all of those things that came into the play have set such a wonderful, vibrant, solid place of motion and momentum that now, from this perspective, you can say, I can live many lives within the same physical iteration. I can be so lighthearted and I can experience so much more. Well, if you were to be lighthearted and buoyant and excited, something needs to balance that out. And this unconscious processing that we are mentioning is what it's doing the work. In other words, you set it in motion in your timeline for eons, and now you get to reap the benefits from it by remembering that there is nothing wrong going on even in those situations, and that moving on, it does not have to be like that for you, even if it was in the past.
Thank you for explaining that. I have spoken to a lot of people over the last couple of years who have told me that we are in the middle of some kind of evolutionary shift to a higher state of consciousness. Would you agree or disagree with that?
We want to just for you to observe. We want you just to observe to what's happening and make your own choice. In other words, this every focusing mechanism has unique vantage point of experiencing that which you're saying. And so the way we like to describe this is, well, now this was being bad and now this is good, and look through this peephole that I'm seeing through, and everything is so wonderful. And now everybody come in to watch through the same peephole, and we say not two people, not two focusing mechanisms at the same moment can look through it, little less the whole humanity. And so you're always going to be having the variance of what you're observing and what you're giving your attention to. And so we're just bringing to your awareness that where you are at in this moment and what you see, it's perfect. And it can bring yourself more and more of those lighthearted experiences. And as the old generations are coming through, and the new generations are coming through, making the wonderful dance, that's what so many are calling the purifying, or the place of shifting into the different frequency and different energetic density. But we want to say that as you're experiencing all of that within you, for as much as you can, do not try to keep the score, because no one is keeping the score. From the wider perspective, all of it is perfect at all times, and you decide what's perfect for you, and you have no limits to decide and then act on it and then live what's perfect for you in every moment of this physical iteration.
I love that so much. Thank you for explaining that. One final question for you. What's the most important message that you'd like to share today?
The one that you've summoned through your brilliant questions, and that it's always based off of your own decision to receive. And so you have a say of what you're receiving. You have a say to what you're integrating and implementing. In other words, it does not matter if the metrics are for the negative or the positive. You are the one that stays in the center of it all. You're the one who is the center of everything that exists, universe, if you will, through your own powerful lens. And so you can allow yourself to experience anything that comes to you. And so we'll just leave you with the simple words that everyone will understand. The ball is always in your court, and there is nothing that you really have to do.
Wonderful. WEOLA, thank you so much for speaking with me and sharing your perspective and your wisdom with me and my viewers.
In appreciation of all of the wonderful receivings you and your viewers will have, not only during this, but during the days beyond this broadcast. For now, that's it.
Welcome back. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we bring Armand back?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll let him in.
Of course.
I was hoping to see him again.
Hello.
I would like to thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure speaking with both of you. And I would love for you to share where the viewers can find you, a little bit more about your events and your book, and anything else that you want to share.
So www.armandkosta, arm and Costa with K.com, and our Instagram, Armand Kosta, and our YouTube, Armand Kosta,
And
and
our email,
armandkosta.com.
connect@armandcosta.com.
Yes.
Yes, it's such an honor to be here, and we want to invite anyone who feels inspired just to say hi. We love when just people reach out and say, hey, and just
Yes,
share whatever you want to share, even if you just want to say hi. And
well, if this resonates with you and you would like to stay in touch, these are the ways to do it. We have our retreat that is coming up pretty soon now. Oh, it's okay. Oh my gosh, who wanted to say hi? Want you to say
here.
He came through. Doji. Koito. Wow. Say
Hello.
hello.
How are
Yes.
you?
Yes.
So cute. I thought you did. So anyway, be in touch. Be in touch. This is the best way. Our retreat is now in like a week, 2 weeks here in Miami, but we will have one in the fall. I've been receiving something like maybe around 11/11 November. We'll see. And then we're gonna have some online offerings soon. We're coming back to our full.
After parenting,
Yes.
we've been mostly focusing the last year and a half on one-on-ones, and now we're back into group sessions, broadcasting, and all the fun that comes with that. And yes, we do have an amazing book, channel book. It's called "We All Are One: The Essence of Everything That Exists." And
It's on Amazon, or you can find it also on our website. It can help you
yes,
get there.
yes, and thank you.
Thank you again. Yes.
Love being covered by love.
Yes.
Yes.
Love covered.
Yes, I love you guys so much. I will have those links in the description so people can check those out. Go find them, keep in touch with them. This has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting us,
you.
and bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for watching and listening. Your views, likes, comments, and shares truly make the biggest difference in supporting this channel. Don't forget to check the show notes for all the links to today's guest, as well as my links. You'll find me on social media at Love Covered Life, my website, lovecoveredlife.com, and the Be a Guest link for anybody who would like to be a guest on the channel. I have great news. Love Covered Life podcast is coming available on audio podcast. You can find it wherever you listen to your audio podcasts.